Have you ever felt like you were walking on the edge of a cliff, knowing that one misstep could change everything? Well, that's exactly what happened to me at my sister's wedding. An event that was supposed to be filled with joy, but instead, it became a moment of utter humiliation. I was called the family disgrace, something I never thought could happen to me. But what followed after that moment? A single text that flipped my life upside down. Stay tuned to hear how everything changed. The sun was shining brightly, casting a golden glow on the lush garden where my sister's wedding was taking place. I stood in the corner looking around at the beautiful decorations, the happy faces, and the love in the air. It was a day that should have been filled with nothing but joy. But for me, it was the start of something I couldn't escape. The wedding had been in the works for months. My sister Nadia had always been the golden child. She was everything my parents had ever wanted in a daughter, beautiful, accomplished, and always well-behaved. And then there was me, the black sheep of the family. It wasn't that I was a bad person, far from it, but I always had a rebellious streak, a refusal to follow the mold my parents had set for me. The tension had been building for weeks. My parents were upset that I hadn't fallen in line with their expectations, not finishing college on time, not settling into a career, and, most importantly, not settling down with someone they approved of. And my sister's wedding, that was the final straw. It was supposed to be my chance to redeem myself in their eyes, to prove I was worthy of being part of this picture-perfect family. But as I walked into the venue that day, all I could feel was the weight of their disappointment. The scorn in their eyes was impossible to miss. It was during the reception when it all went wrong. The music was loud. The guests were dancing, and my parents were mingling with their friends, showing off their perfect daughter and her perfect wedding. I tried to smile, tried to enjoy the evening, but it felt like every laugh was a little too forced, every conversation a little too uncomfortable. I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't belong. Then it happened. My mom pulled me aside, her face tight with frustration. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice a mix of disappointment and anger. I followed her to a quiet corner near the back of the hall, the sound of the celebration muffled by the thick walls. "I don't know why you insist on making everything so difficult," she began, her words sharp. "You had one job today, to be present, to be happy for Nadia, but as always you've managed to ruin it." I opened my mouth to defend myself, but before I could speak, she continued, "You're the family disgrace, you know that? Look at everyone here, how proud they are of their children. And then there's you making a fool of yourself." The words hit me like a slap across the face. "Mom, that's not fair," I tried to say, but she wasn't done. "You've been nothing but a disappointment. All this time we've tried to help you, guide you, but it's like you don't even care about this family. Don't you realize how embarrassing you are?" Tears welled up in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction. "I've done my best," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "Your best isn't good." "Enough?" she said coldly before walking away, leaving me standing there, broken and humiliated. I felt like everyone in the room was staring at me, judging me, whispering about what a failure I was. After that conversation, I couldn't stay at the wedding any longer. I made some excuse about feeling sick and left, my heart heavy with anger and sadness. I drove aimlessly for hours, trying to clear my mind, but the weight of my mother's words kept echoing in my head. The family disgrace. Those words wouldn't leave me. They cut deeper than anything I had ever felt before. I ended up at a park, sitting on a bench, staring at my phone. The screen was filled with missed calls and texts from my family, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. What was the point? They didn't care about me. All I wanted was to escape, disappear, and never have to face them again. As I scrolled through my phone, my thumb stopped at a message that caught my eye. It was from an old friend, someone I hadn't heard from in years. The text read, "Hey, I know things have been tough, but I just wanted to remind you that you're not alone. You're stronger than you think, and you're worth so much more than the way they've treated you. I stared at the message, confused at first, but then something inside me shifted. The words felt like a lifeline thrown to me in the middle of a storm. I wasn't the family disgrace. I wasn't a failure. I had my own worth, my own value, and it wasn't defined by my parents or anyone else. I stared at the screen for a moment longer before typing a response. Thank you. I needed to hear that. That text, simple as it was, gave me a new perspective. I realized I had been living my life for others, trying to meet their expectations, and in doing so I had lost sight of who I really was. My whole life, I had been trying to please my parents, to live up to the perfect image they had of me. But that image wasn't mine. It was theirs. I spent the next few days reflecting, rethinking everything. I couldn't change the past, but I could change my future. It wasn't going to be easy, but I had to learn to let go of the shame they had placed on me and start living for myself. I made a decision. I wasn't going to attend the next family gathering. I wasn't going to play the role of the obedient daughter who just went along with everything. I was going to be me unapologetically. And if they couldn't accept that, then maybe it was time to stop trying to win their approval. Weeks passed and the tension with my family lingered. My parents sent more texts, left more voicemails, all filled with apologies, but I didn't respond. I wasn't ready to go back to their toxic expectations. I needed to heal first. But one day, I got a message from Nadia. It was a long text, filled with her own reflections on what had happened. I know Mom and Dad can be tough on you, she wrote, but I don't want you to think you're a disgrace. You're my sister and I love you, no matter what. I hope one day we can talk about this and make things right. Her words broke something inside me, and for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe it wouldn't be easy, but maybe, just maybe, there was a way back. A way to rebuild the bridges I thought had been burned forever. Over the next few months, I took small steps toward reconciling with my family. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't without pain. But as I began to stand up for myself, to assert my worth and my boundaries, something amazing happened. My family started to see me differently. Not as the disappointment, but as the woman I had become. We had long conversations, some tearful, some filled with laughter, but through it all we learned to communicate in a way we hadn't before. My parents apologized, not just for their harsh words, but for the years of expectations they had placed on me. It wasn't an easy road, but it was one of growth for all of us. That single text, the one that I almost ignored, changed everything. It reminded me of my worth when I had forgotten it. It gave me the strength to take control of my life and stop letting others define me. I'm still not the person my parents expected me to be, and maybe I never will be. But I've come to realize that's okay. What matters is that I'm finally living for myself, and that in itself is a victory dot. And as for the family disgrace, well, maybe that title belongs to someone else now. Because in the end, I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving.